Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 3. So, the first two episodes did good setup while also kind of introducing us to new characters and bringing us into the plot and everything. And now we see fully that Obi-Wan did not know Anakin, aka Vader, was alive. So that's interesting. But he managed to rescue Princess Leia. Everything worked out there. Reva tried to stop him, but things kind of got out of hand when the Grand Inquisitor interfered, and she killed him. Which, for me at least, with all that and all the other information, kind of implies that she's working more directly under Vader than we thought. So, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's setting up a lot of stuff. We're still building up on Qui-Gon as a Force ghost coming in. And it's really good so far. I'm really enjoying it. Ewan McGregor is awesome as always. That's to be expected, though. And there's been a lot of great little references and stuff here and there, and backgrounds and cameos by like Ewan McGregor's daughter and stuff. So I don't know where to expect it to go next. We got a glimpse of Vader in the last episode, seeing him in a medical tank, but that's about it. Maybe we'll see more this episode, maybe not. I don't know. It's only 6 episodes long, so they can't wait too long, right? But in the meantime, we are going to get this started and see what this has in store for us. And yeah, hopefully it ends up being pretty good. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades black and it fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, how long is it going to take for someone to come after me for saying that this is the weakest of the 3 episodes so far? And I want to make clear, I'm not saying that it's bad, but it's the weakest of the 3. See, the first 2 episodes were really interesting and exciting, really got me into the series, really got me into Obi-Wan's journey to where he came from and where he is now and where he's going, as well as really set up a lot of great stuff with Leia and everything. This episode was pretty much just all build up to the Vader confrontation, and honestly, it felt like it. Most of this episode was just not that interesting comparative to the other 2. Once we got to the Vader stuff, like, yeah, that stuff was exciting and fun, but everything before that was just kind of like there. Like, Seth Rogen had a cameo. Yay. None of that stuff really excited me or interested me. It wasn't really till Vader came in that I was like, oh, this is starting to get good now. And I shouldn't be feeling that way. I feel like I shouldn't be like bored most of this episode, and then only find the interesting part when, you know, another legacy character comes in. And it's like, there were moments that were just trying to build up this tension that I just don't think worked. Like the entire thing with the stormtroopers in the transport with Obi-Wan and Leia and everything. It's like nothing about that really bothered me. I never really felt for a second they were going to actually like realize who they were. Even when Obi-Wan slipped up, I knew he'd figure out a way to talk himself out of it. When they were at the checkpoint, like, I wasn't necessarily expecting anything to really stop them that much there either, and it really didn't. Like, it slowed them down and kind of revealed that they were there, but that's really it. And it didn't really have as much tension as I felt like they were trying to get across. Personally. I wasn't as invested in this one. With the other episodes, everything that was happening pretty much was exciting to me. Everything that was happening was interesting, and I was invested to see where it all went. In this one, it was just like, you had, like, I don't know, somewhere around maybe half the episode was just kind of a slog to get to the good stuff. And once it did get to the good stuff, it definitely picked up. Obi-Wan's confrontations with Vader, which mostly he was just kind of running away from due to, you know, all of the pain and fear and misery that entire situation caused for him. When we did get some action and basically saw Obi-Wan being overpowered, partially due to the fact that he hasn't, like, really practiced with anything in a decade, while, you know, Anakin has been. It's like, that was the more interesting stuff. That was the stuff I wanted to see. The stuff I was kind of, I guess you could say, watching for. And even with that, though, it's like, maybe it's because I never really liked Vader as much as everyone else, but even with that, it wasn't as fun to me as the other ones. It just felt like it was, like, it felt like this episode was entirely dedicated to bringing out that Vader confrontation. Like, nothing else in this episode really mattered until that. And it's like, even the stuff with Reva and Leia at the very end there, it's like, while I'm not exactly sure why she's still going after her, it just doesn't feel as it feels within the context of this episode like a little bogged down. And I know that may sound weird. I know that may be unpopular. And again, I'm not saying this was bad. Nothing about this was bad. It just was weaker compared to the first two episodes. The first two episodes, like I said, I was excited for. They really hooked me in. But this one just felt like, okay, we've hooked the viewers in, now let's just show off Vader. And hopefully the second half of the series, because again, there's 6 episodes, we're already halfway through, which is ridiculous. Hopefully the second half of the series will pick things back up again. It's hard to say. But yeah, it's like, this confrontation just really didn't, like, excite me as much as I feel like it could have and should have. I'm just wondering one big thing here. We very briefly saw Anakin without the helmet. Both at the very end of last episode and a tiny bit in this one. The voice is clearly like James Earl Jones's voice. So Hayden Christensen was specifically advertised for being in this. Is he just being the one in the suit? Like, without even talking or anything? Or is there going to be a point where he is unmasked and we get to actually see and hear Anakin? Because otherwise, it's like, I'm not really getting Hayden Christensen here. You know? You know what I mean? Like, that's more what I want. And I know, I understand he's, like, all messed up and everything from what happened, but you could still give us something. I don't know. It's just... He was advertised, and I feel like I didn't get him in this episode. You know what I mean? But yeah, there's just not a lot I feel like I can really talk about this episode otherwise. It wasn't that exciting to me. It wasn't that interesting. If you liked it, obviously, that's fine. And again, I didn't think it was bad or anything. But to me, it was just, I guess you could say, kind of a disappointment after the first two. Honestly, if the series had started out with the episodes being like this, I probably would not have gotten into it. And by this point, halfway through, if all of the episodes had been like this, I probably would have dropped it. And I hate to say that, I hate to do that, but it's just... This episode was just that much weaker to me. And it's just not what I guess I'm looking for with this series. It's like, I'm not looking just... I'm not watching this because I want just to see a Darth Vader scene that's like, oh, Darth Vader, cool, yay. I'm not just like one of those kinds of fans. I want the story and everything and the content of the episode to be exciting and interesting as well. And you can make that happen with a slower paced episode. You can. Maybe it's just me, I don't know. But this was definitely the weakest of the three so far. Hopefully we get better in the second half. Hopefully things pick up again. We'll see. In the meantime, tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.